So you can write a thesis on that question, but that's all right. But since we're not doing a survey this year, I'll do my best to get this in 1 minute.
Well, you can if you want to, just let it right.
Just might have to. Okay, so I will try to hit on sort of the highlights. Rogers Road, I'm happy that process seems to be coming along. The county seems to finally have gotten past a little bit of an obstacle in terms of the EPA complaint that seems to be moving on, and they've applied for community development block grant funds to help them pay for that. I understand it's a little bit of a long shot, but that's just one more thing. And certainly I will support paying for the county's the county's share to take care of the needs and particularly the sewer. So that's one thing. The second thing is on the rural recycling, the Solid Waste Advisory Group with a clever acronym SWAG. Apparently, just last Friday, had learned that there was a technical correction. Thank you, legislators, if you know anything about this. That changes the way the fees can be charged to something called availability, which is by a user as opposed to by a property. So that you get rid of that one problem of charging a property that doesn't have anything on it. You would no longer have to charge them a recycling fee because obviously they're not producing it. So that really could be, I think that's a game changer, and I think we'll get them moving forward on that. I think I'll save, I'm going to answer the principal stand question in my closing statement, so that's a related issue. But I'll move on from here.
Mia just elaborated on what I didn't have time to say, so I have nothing else to say.
Okay. All right, so we're going to move on to the closing statements. You have 2 minutes to wrap it up, and we'll start with Greg.
Tonight I'm just reflecting on what does our state want, and I think at our core values, we're people who want opportunity, we want equality, and we want fairness. We want all of those things to build into prosperity, and I'll go back to what I started with, which is that I think that the place that we depend as North Carolinians to create opportunity, to build our prosperity is our public schools. And that, to me, that is the most important issue for the legislature to tackle. And I want to be one of the people that's there working on that because I've spent my career in public schools. I depend on it for my children. And I think that the voice of people who have been in the trenches needs to be heard on that issue.
Representative Vensko.
Well, thank you for having this forum again and for the opportunity. I think I'm going to continue with my opening statement, and that is that we can go to the General Assembly and file individual bills and be engaged in specific issues as they come up, but I hope that the House Democratic Caucus this year will actually take the initiative and be for something too, not as a program. Would we submit a sample budget, an outline of a sample budget? Would we discuss how we would fund that budget? Would we outline where, if we were going to cut tax credits, would we cut tax credits in order to come up with some of that funding? And so I'd like to see us be for something and not just against the Republican positions. Republicans actually think have made quite a bit of progress re-evaluating their position on education. And so I think one of the things that we can do by being for things is helping to educate the other side about these issues that they haven't been familiar with for a long time. So that would be one thing I'd like to work on this year.
Thank you. Again, thank you all for having this discussion for us. I would like to say that it has indeed been an honor for me to serve in the General Assembly, and I want to return to serve again. I want to return so that I can be a part of what brings North Carolina back to what North Carolina used to be. We've talked about education a lot tonight, and I think all of us understand that education is very important in North Carolina, but also important is the health of our citizens. And so I think that we need to ensure that whatever we can do for our most vulnerable people, that we do it. And we do that by expanding Medicaid. We also need to ensure that North Carolina our environment is protected. And so we have an opportunity to, again, as been said earlier, to be for something. And I think that the three of us have shown that we are for education, that we are for equality, and that we are for the environment. And so I believe if you return us, you will see that we will take a stand on all of those issues.
Thank you. Okay, back to the county commissioner's closing statement. Leah.
So I think I've made it clear in my answers to several questions that where my priorities lie. Keeping education strong, serving the least of these through our human services. And that those are my priorities, and the way I want to get there is to continue to really focus on diversifying the tax base. And I'll learn lots more about how we're going to do that as I hopefully will serve. This is a period of time where I've been reflecting on the benefits of having been on the school board, and there are two things that I think are really critical. One of which is through the tutelage, actually, of some of the folks on the other side of the dais, I have learned how important it is to talk about race and class comfortably in our community. We are a progressive community, but we still have a lot of things to work through and learn about, and a lot of that comes to fore with the schools, but those issues still cut at the county's level. The Rogers Road issue being a good example. The other thing, and I know Verla and Valerie will back me up on this one, you get to be tough as nails when you've been on a school board and you've had to go through a redistricting, particularly when you've been the chair. I believe that if there's anything that will allow me to take principal stands on things like maybe a solid waste transfer station siting, those kinds of things, I believe the school board is prepared to make those decisions, to listen to all the folks, get all the input, educate, ask the questions, but then make a decision and move on. I believe I'm prepared to do that if the citizens of Orange County choose to elect me as a county commissioner.
Here, close the statement.
I have one thing to say. I ran for Chapel Hill Town Council last year, and one of the responses I got was very well, are you a Democrat or Republican? And I said, well, it's supposed to be nonpartisan, so what difference does it make? Blah, 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 blah. So I'm not going to take that with her. I happen to be an independent who's running as a Republican. The reason is because if I would have ran in the primary, I probably would have lost to my opponent here. And so basically it comes down to, if you feel the way I feel about the issues, what's going on right now, and you want change, I think I'm the perfect person to elect, because I have worked with everybody on a city level, Carrboro, Chapel Hill, and on the board, county commissioners. So actually, I think I'm the most qualified, to be honest with you. And I hope you're independent enough to put party aside and vote for the independent who really represents your views and elect that person. That's what I have to say.
Okay. All right, that's all of our questions. We'd like to thank all of the candidates for coming out, and thank you for your answers. I'd like to thank everyone who came out to watch, and also anyone who's watching us through the magic of computers. Thanks for coming. You have a great night. Lisa, is there anything else you want to say?
Thanks much.
All right, thanks, guys.